We welcome you to the desk of the Executive Director today at Back Bay Mission. I'm James Pennington, and we are not at my desk, but we're actually at my window, I guess, right? So really happy and overjoyed to have Diane and Michael here today from Sebring. You live in Sebring, right?
Yes.
Florida.
Correct.
And so today we know this is in the aftermath of the hurricane. And if you're out there watching this on Monday probably, send good energy to Florida and healing energy and mercy, and do whatever you can to support our friends in Florida, because we know people that are coastal folks know these experiences. But Michael and Diane have been coming here for how long?
7 years.
7 years, yeah.
7 years, okay.
Correct.
And Michael is the architect that has been working with us on our emergency temporary shelters,
Correct.
or our tiny bedrooms on wheels. We're kind of determining what's the best terminology and words for those, because we know words matter, right?
Right.
And so while they were here, they met with the Gulfport high school teachers. I don't know, you didn't get to meet the students, right? Just the teachers?
Just mainly the teachers.
Teachers, the instructors that are doing the prototype of the temporary shelter, right?
Correct.
The tiny bedroom. So that was kind of exciting for you then to meet them face to face, because Michael is an architect, right?
Correct.
So do you want to say a little bit about your architecture work, and then, if you want to talk a little, Diane, about your work and your life's work?
Okay.
By all means, and thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to do this, and welcome. Yes, I'm currently a registered architect, still somewhat practicing, and I say somewhat because I started out and educated in the northeast part of the United States and then wandered to Florida to retire. But once people found out the kind of services or the type of services that I was able to offer, and being one of very few design professionals in my area, why then people were reaching out to me. So my quick response in regards to retirement was, and still is, very slow. So I'm still practicing.
But you obviously love architecture,
Well,
design.
like you, and like those that may be listening, is that it's once you're in a profession, it's hard to kind of let go because it's a part of you.
Yeah.
It's a part of you.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. And Diane?
I had a very varied professional life. I was an entrepreneur for many years. Went backwards and went to work for the corporate side after I was had been self-employed for many years. Special project management, created award programs for folks that didn't ever get the right kind of recognition in the field, and so I did that with the same company for 53 years.
Wow.
And so that part of my life is over. However, I continue to be very active leadership role in our church in Sebring, and work with Michael on projects like this.
Yeah. And what's the name of your church in Sebring?
Emmanuel
United Church of Christ. Great. Okay. And like you said, you've been coming down here for 7 years on work projects. Do you want to tell us why, or what's been important to you or eye-opening to you?
Well, on my side, quickly, is that I can offer that kind of design services, professional services, and help then Back Bay Mission through that process in the field, where Diane has been diverse in her responsibilities since she's been coming down here in regards to trying to find that area that she felt comfortable with, and also shares that experience with me in the field.
Yeah. Well, pretty important. I mean, it's the work that we do, and the program you're volunteering for is our rehab program. And I know some of the folks that come down from your church also volunteer in the food pantry, right? And over at the Micah Day Center. But your work, you're an architect, but you know the nuts and bolts, and that's pretty important. Actually, you also, for the folks out there, have designed a couple of cottages for us.
That is correct.
Is that the best word for them?
Yes.
Can you explain those? And those are going to actually, we're going to be building those in the Gaston Point neighborhood, on a couple of lots that we have in Gaston Point. They're going to be They're going to be housing for people who are low income, right? So it's affordable housing in an area that really needs affordable housing. So
Yeah, briefly, there are cottages, as you have shared, and they are 1 and 2 bedroom cottages, which will replace those dwelling units that were once here prior to the hurricanes and have now been lost. And so you have as an organization jumped in to help them to design and ask me to help you do that. So they are very small. They are indeed tiny homes, but they are designed like a cottage and
Yeah.
fitting within the architecture that I can certainly lend some credence to in the local neighborhoods and in Biloxi and along the seacoast
yeah,
here at the Gulf. My expertise in my more senior years in my profession has been along the coast on the Atlantic. Having an office in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and in that area has allowed me then to do lots of coastal architecture, which then I can add some design credence then to what you would like to have done. So that's been a pleasure to do that. It really has.
well, and I think Everett, who works with Gulf Coast Housing Initiative, and Craig working with Back Bay, the kind of idea for those cottages is that helping people, because a lot of people want to buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, right? That seems to be what everybody wants, even if there's only 2 people or 1 person living in there.
Correct.
And so this is a way to really create affordable housing, good affordable housing, right? That has, like you said, a coastal design, but also meets the needs of the people rather than more, right?
Correct.
Because it's a bit about our footprint too that we leave, especially in the environment here, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So I'm kind of excited to see that. I've seen the plans, and yeah, and there were plans that were drawn up right some time ago,
Yeah, they
and
were.
then you actually went through the process to be, is it licensed
Yes,
here, right, in
yes.
Mississippi?
Yeah, in the United States, there is a registration board, and each design professional has to have a license within that state.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I'm currently registered here within the state of Mississippi.
Okay.
That's correct.
So what brings you joy and kind of fills your heart coming to Back Bay Mission and being a volunteer? What is it that keeps you coming back, and what brings you joy?
Yeah, briefly for me, it's just the enjoyment, number one, that I can offer something of what I know a little bit about. Number two is to see the smiles on the faces of those that we serve, and to walk away with something a little bit more than my self-ego. It's also something that's in here that says, you know, I did okay. I did okay.
Wow, that's really cool. Something more than self-ego. I'm going to catalog that. And for you, Diane?
Well, I took the advice of our partners from Edwards Church in Iowa and Davenport, and tried to experience more pieces of Back Bay Mission when I first came, because my desire is to go out and swing a hammer, do something physical like that. And so I worked at Loaves and Fishes and the food bank. We have a food bank at our church that is modeled after yours, and is doing well, and we're seeing many of the same trends that you are. But the Loaves and Fishes and serving that population was probably one of the best things I ever did. Offering someone, pouring their cup of coffee for them and handing it to them, or carrying it to the table for them, which they totally did not expect, was so gratifying. And it just felt so good. And I can remember Abe telling our group when we made salads for the lunchtime period, he said, "You make the most beautiful salads. You have every color and you have every texture." And he says, "You know, you make beautiful salads." What a wonderful thing, you know. And then I like to go out and swing a hammer.
Yeah, and another, I guess, kind of a last question I kind of have, because you know, you're going back to your home, which has been ravaged by a hurricane, And what is it that keeps you coming back here rather than just doing this work in your own place and space?
We get asked that every year.
Yeah.
By the congregation,
Yep.
by friends, etc. And the need certainly is everywhere. But one of the takeaways, I think, in coming to a place like Biloxi, whose need just not only, I think, almost outweighs our local need, but it is a getaway for us. It takes you out of your environment and allows you to really immerse yourself in something rather than this just being a weekend project. It's, the bunk living in the mission house, just the camaraderie gives you so much personally.
Yeah.
Diane and I have had the opportunity previously, not together, to have missioned at other places in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
I've been in Central America, and Diane's been over in Bangladesh,
Yeah, I was in Asia.
in Asia.
Yeah.
And so subsequently, knowing that this need is also here in the United States, which we've always known, we've actually had an opportunity, and that's via the church
Yeah.
that we belong to. So subsequently, wanting to do that and to give what we felt like we could give, which we were doing elsewhere, let's do it here, right here, where it is so it's needed.
It's interesting when you talk about being in an area that's just been hit by a hurricane and watching the recovery of your community. It's almost like Biloxi, especially this south of I-10 old downtown area, just never gets a chance to get there.
Yeah.
And so the percentage of homeless, of course you have the climate that is conducive to year-round homelessness as far as that goes, is in the temperatures and whatnot. It's just like you just really need help.
We were drawn here.
Really.
We were literally drawn here.
Well, we were pushed here by people who had already been here.
Well, and that's correct.
We were brought here by someone who's already been.
And it's interesting to me that there's two churches here at the same. It isn't just our church in Sebring, Florida.
Right.
We've joined forces with another church
Yeah.
in Davenport, Iowa, and to have these two groups, which we now become family.
Yeah.
They are a part of our family. We correspond remotely in the times that we are not here, so we know about them, and we look forward to this. So,
Yeah.
Pushing Back Bay Mission aside, it's nice to see our friends again and hug them.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, especially about you folks being down here, is that you come with this group from Davenport. They meet you here, right?
Correct.
And then you get to kind of be together. You get to build relationships, and it's and you bring your different perspectives.
We do.
Right. We visited each other's churches.
Wow.
It was a connection that was immediate, and a bond I hope will never be broken.
Yeah.
They bring a different type of expertise, regardless how minimal it is.
Yeah.
They bring it to the team effort
Yeah.
to make what we do here at Back Bay Mission a success.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, and you really put into words, I think, something that, I've been here almost a year and a half now, I guess, and there's this draw to do this work here. Because like you said, it feels like East Biloxi, especially the place we're in here, it's never really completely come back
Right.
from the hurricane. And even I live about 3 miles west or 2.5 miles west, and I drive along the coast, and the coast is absolutely beautiful. But if you look away from the coast, what homes used to be there. There's nothing else there. There's many empty lots, and there's some homes and some mansions and beautiful places that survived, but many that didn't. And this part of East Biloxi that hasn't come back, I liken it a bit to New Orleans. Some of the more impoverished area of New Orleans have not come back after the hurricane. And interestingly enough, East Biloxi was a bit more impoverished too. Even that's where downtown is at, but it was the communities of color, it was the people that were living in poverty, the Vietnamese population, the black population, and it's never really come back.
I was so surprised early on when I was serving meals with loaves and fishes. The shrimping population, the casino workers, the people who are not necessarily homeless and have jobs, but they just are not, it's not enough to live on, to
Right.
raise their families. And I learned about the impact of the Mississippi River and what's coming down the Mississippi River and the impact on the shrimp population.
Yep.
And what that's doing to that community. And one of the very first homes that the Edwards group worked on after Katrina was for a Vietnamese shrimper.
Wow.
And we haven't been able to do it this year, and COVID has kind of put things, but we've oftentimes sponsored a community dinner in that the clients that we've been in contact with before, we're still in contact with.
Wow.
And the families that we've done, the Vietnamese family that he's a shrimper, came and had dinner with us last year.
Oh, wow.
And there were several others that we had worked on their homes that we just really connected with, that we felt we wanted to serve one more time.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
And to add on to that, this, in our 7 years, this is the first year that I can recall that we actually had one of the homeowners come out and help us work on his
Yes.
house.
Oh, wow.
So
Yes.
that's what we're currently enjoying this year, taking away that wonderful memory with us as we drive back to some place that might be destroyed anyway, or at least damaged.
Yeah.
But that's, I walk away from the job site every day knowing that man who is a veteran and who is a bit disabled wanted to contribute, wanted to and be a part of that team.
Participate. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I think the interesting significance too, you said, you met these folks at Loaves and Fishes when you're feeding or helping or this veteran, right? These are the people that we, in this country, we call the working poor. They may have jobs, they may have an income, maybe he gets Social Security, disability, or veterans benefits, but it's not enough. It's not enough. And those of us who have serve, and yet those who don't have enough serve too. And that's the beauty, right?
When you and I are down, isn't it nice to have somebody that you don't even know come in and help you pick yourself up?
Yep,
Pick yourself up.
that's for sure.
Well, as homeowners, we understand, it's not a just buy and be done. It's something to do all the time.
Yeah.
We have a new home that we built together, and we have to maintain, we're repairing, we're doing something. It's just kind of reached that point where, gosh, we really need to fix this, or this really needs to be repainted. And so it's a never-ending cycle
Yeah,
to maintain that home once you get it.
yeah.
And in many circumstances, the folks that we're helping now physically are unable, and many times because the price of supplies and working and even availability of any
Right.
contractors or carpenters, etc., just can't get it done.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time and your good words, because I think, you spoke volumes today, right? Words make an impact. We talked about that before we started this, right? Words are important, and the words that you share will reach out and touch people in ways that we probably never will understand, right? And it may just really encourage people to be people that make a difference in their place, in their community. And maybe even compel people to come here to Back Bay.
Yeah.
So
And how wonderful it is that you would invite us to do this. It really is.
And I would say to anyone out there who was coming here and volunteering and has not been able to because of COVID, COVID has interrupted our routines,
yeah,
and please consider coming back, because the work is here, and we need the volunteers.
Yes, we do.
Come
Yeah.
it's a safe environment and so rewarding.
It's life-changing,
It is
and it's enriching.
for both
Enhances
sides.
our lives. Oh, totally, right? Absolutely. You know, and the stories that some of our case managers share, and the change that we see that happens in people's lives and the transformation is incredible. And that's, you know, it's really what life is about, isn't it? It's about transformation, it's about change, it's about moving forward, right? And sometimes I think we move back, but always looking ahead to what is it? How can we be better human beings? How can we be better people? How can we be better people of faith? Just to continue to do the work that God has called us in the world to do. So thank you very much
Oh, you're
for your
welcome.
time, Diane and Michael, and yeah, we look forward to your return next year. Or maybe for our Making Good Trouble conference,
There
right?
you go.
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you folks for participating in this and being a part of this, and send Diane and Michael some really good energy and good love and healing and mercy. Thank you.